Hey everyone. In this video, I want to talk to you about the importance of recognizing your faults and how they impact your life. You don't want to be one of those people who is completely oblivious to their faults and therefore kind of gets dragged along through life by their faults and they don't even realize how they affect their quality of life. So it's very important that you have enough self-awareness to realize what your faults even are in the first place. So practicing self-awareness is huge. That's the thing that you should do first and foremost. With it, you can identify what your faults are. And I don't want to talk completely about how to practice self-awareness because I actually made a video on that somewhat recently. I think it was within the past few months. So you can just search that on my page and you should be able to find it. But you want to practice that so you can be aware of your faults. I mean, most of us in general should have some idea of what our shortcomings truly are, be it if you become emotional rather quickly at certain events, meaning you get triggered by those things, or maybe you're impatient, or a myriad of other things. We all have ways in which we just aren't all that perfect, and we know that. We know that none of us are perfect. All of us have shortcomings in some form. But it's important that you actually figure out what they are because then you can figure out how they're going to affect your life. For instance, in my own life, I have a bit of a problem where I can be a bit impatient with strangers from time to time. It's definitely based on the mood I'm in when I'm dealing with strangers, but what I mean here is if people are going about their day in a really slow manner, say people are at the grocery store and somebody's just going around really slowly with their grocery cart and I'm stuck behind them and there's no way to go around them, I'm going to be annoyed because I'm going to think, why the heck is my time being delayed by this person who seems like they have all the time in the world and they don't care about other people enough to realize that, hey, maybe they should move their carts so that I can go around them. And then on the road, and the same thing, where if you're stuck on like a one lane road with somebody who's driving below the speed limit and you're like, why are you doing that? We have places to go. And so on and so forth. Or I'll be impatient with people who act in really dumb ways. Yet again, another example from driving because I live in LA, so a lot of my examples will come from driving in this regard. But I hate people who have short tempers on the road and who drive like morons. You know, people who weave in and out of traffic at dangerous speeds and nearly cause accidents, or people who cut you off because for whatever reason, something about the way you drive may have pissed them off. That doesn't happen too often to me, but occasionally there are times where people just have road rage. And if you're actually going 5 over the speed limit here in LA, that's not fast enough for most people. They want you to be going at least 10 over. I can't tell you how often I get tailgated when I'm actually going 5 over the limit, which is technically illegal, but don't tell the cops. But yeah, it's ridiculous around here. People are just super impatient. So one of my flaws is that I can let my emotions kind of control me in those situations to some extent. Obviously not completely because I've worked on myself enough, but they still affect me more than I wish they would. It's something I'm still trying to work on because I don't want these situations to make me basically get flared up a bit. But it stems from my past where I was bullied when I was younger. So whenever I encounter situations where people are coming off in a somewhat bullying manner, where if somebody's tailgating you, if they're driving like an idiot, if they're cutting you off, if they're just doing stupid shit on the road, to me, that comes off a bit like bullying because they know on the road nobody's going to be able to do anything about it. I mean, what could you do? Like, really, what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything to somebody who's driving like an idiot because there isn't anything you can do. I mean, if you really wanted to, if you were rich enough where you didn't care about your own car, you could maybe perform a takedown maneuver on their car and make them spin out or something. But that's very dangerous and could make you end up in either the hospital or jail if you end up making them spin out and God forbid they crash into something. So there's nothing you can do in that situation. And they know that. So that's why it comes off like bullying to me. So that's just one of my big flaws is letting my emotions kind of control me more than I wish they would in certain situations. And I understand how that affects me because I know that when I'm driving, I have to be more careful because I could let my anger get the best of me and then I could start driving like a moron myself. And I don't want that to happen. And then in the situations where people are just being too slow, whether it's in a grocery store or on the road, I just deal with it. I usually will focus on my breathing to try to just be like, okay, well, if they're going to be this slow, I guess I have to just become completely present in the moment until they're gone and I can get around them and go on with my day. So it's important to know your faults and how they affect your life, because with that, you can start taking steps to actually chip away at making sure that they don't impact your life as much as they did in the past. Just like I was saying in this example about me focusing on my breathing to deal with it, or just being aware about this behavior enough that I can try to prevent it from happening when I see things that would trigger me arising. Like when somebody starts tailgating me on the road. Now I try to laugh whenever I see it. But it does happen so often here in LA. I don't know how many of you deal with similar moronic drivers where you live, but LA is just horrible for that. I mean, the stereotype is real here. It's true. LA drivers are ridiculous. It's bad enough that it's made me not want to live here my whole life because I want to get away from these idiots at some point. But anyway, like I said before, it's just important that you have enough self-awareness to notice when these types of situations will happen to you and how they will impact your life. Now, obviously, I used a very precise example here from my own life, and it was more so relating to emotions, but your faults could be in other things. Maybe it could even be your eyesight or other things like that. Maybe you're not the best at math. It could be whatever it is. You just need to be aware of them so that you can work around them so that they don't hold you back all that much. And in some cases, you can even improve them so they're less of a fault. And over time, they won't impact your life to that same degree that they used to. So basically, this video is just a reminder that you need to be aware of your shortcomings so that you can basically account for them in your life so that they don't end up controlling you and dictating the direction you go, and God forbid, leading to really extreme circumstances, or should I say, like in the cases where if I were to act on my road rage, that could lead to very bad outcomes. So obviously I try to hold back as much as possible so that those outcomes don't become a reality. And that all comes from self-awareness of knowing how you have that fault and what it could lead to so that you can then work on combating it. Anyway, I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!